What if I told you that one of the most important things that you can do for your firm is also one of the biggest potential traps? As a law firm owner developing a CFO mindset, you're going to need to set financial goals for your firm. Depending on your approach, these can either give you a level of clarity and focus that will set the tone for everything that you do, or they can lead you down a path towards becoming a burnt out, disgruntled employee of your own practice. Welcome to Capital Counsel, a weekly show designed to help law firm owners transform the way they view and manage their firm by teaching them how to develop a CFO mindset. Hi, Brian Weirson here. If you sat down to set some financial goals for your firm, what would they look like? Let me tell you what I hear from business owners. I want to make $1 million in revenue. I want to get to $500,000 in net profit. There's nothing wrong with these specific, ambitious goals. The problem is when I ask the follow-up question, which is why? Back in episode 2, we discussed the 5 pillars of the CFO mindset. If you haven't already listened or watched that, go back and check it out. Pillar number 5 is shareholder value. One of the primary reasons that a business exists is to serve its owner. We hear a very cynical view of this concept when we think about publicly traded companies. Maximizing shareholder value is often code for make money at whatever cost. Certainly, that cynical view is not what we mean when we talk about shareholder value in the CFO mindset. Still, even if we don't accept this cynical interpretation, we still tend to agree that making money is its own goal. That's why everybody sets these arbitrary vanity goals, like $1 million of revenue or $10 million of revenue, but they can't really explain the why. They just see that number. This is where our shareholder value pillar comes in. Instead of just picking a random number and setting that as our goal, we go from the opposite direction. We start by looking at our personal goals, ambitions, and values. Then we use that to inform the goals that we set for the firm. The big idea here is the concept of enough. This concept is at the center of the Consilium CFO philosophy. We're going to look at that concept of enough through 3 big questions. The first question is, how much money do I need to bring home in order to have enough to fund my lifestyle? Wise entrepreneurs know this number because they have a specific written out budget that lists all of their expenses on a monthly basis, so they know exactly how much money has to come home. The sum of the expenses on the budget equal the amount of money that has to come home in order to make ends meet. Now, do we want to just make ends meet? Of course not. We want to get past that, but this is the starting point. First, we need to know where we stand. How much do I need to bring home next month in order to make sure that we have enough to finish the month? Once we have our base number, we can start to think about those items that we can cut and also those items that we'd like to add. What we end up with is a very clear picture of where we stand at the beginning. The second question is, how much does my business need to make sure that I have enough to bring home to fund my budget? Answering this question should be the primary goal of all of our record keeping, accounting, and analysis that we do in the business. Now that we have the answer to the first question, how much is enough to fund our lifestyle, that number represents the minimum profit number that our business needs to make in order to make sure that we can satisfy that. So instead of starting with a business financial goal, a revenue goal, even a net profit goal, we start with our personal goal, and we use that to inform what we want to get out of our business. If we're not making it to that profit number right now, we can go back and make adjustments to our budget. First, we'll make adjustments to our business budget. What can we cut on the business side? How can we bring in more money? And if we're still not able to make it, we can look at our personal budget and say there's a few things that we need to cut to make sure that that flows down. Revenue minus expenses equals a profit, which ultimately goes to us so that we can meet our personal budget. Now that we've established the baseline for our personal budget, and after that, the baseline for our business budget, we are able to follow this exact same process as we go through the goal setting. Again, rather than having the business's profits dictate what our personal goals are, we are in a great position as owners of a service-based business to say, I want to set my personal budget first. What do I value? What do I want to spend my money on? And then from there, I'm able to determine what I want my business to do in order to get me to where I want to go. Now, back to our 3 questions. The third question is by far the most important because it deals with who we are as individuals and who we want to be in the future. The question is, when will enough be enough? Growing up, I wanted to be rich. Who didn't? If you were to ask me then, what would you set as your business goals from a financial perspective? And I would say, I want to make as much money as possible. Now, I've been working for 15 years. I have a wife and 2 kids, and my priorities are a little different. Sure, I want to make more money because there are things that I want to achieve and things that I want to do. However, I'm now able to step back and see that the goal of money is not the whole picture. For me, the biggest consideration when it comes to setting goals is time. I want to make enough money so that I can afford to spend time with the people that I want to spend time with. And I don't want to make so much money that I have to devote time that I would otherwise be able to spend with my family towards work. This is really a key place to be. Now, this is not to say that it's bad to set high income goals. Everybody's values, circumstances, and specific goals are going to be different. Like most of what we discuss here, the conclusion that you reach is a lot less important than the way that you ask the question. When it comes to the first 2 questions, 1 about our personal finances and 2 about our business finances, we're going to change our answers all the time. Every time we set a new goal, our number for our enough on question 1 is going to change, and as a result, our number on question 2 is going to change as well. When it comes to question 3, we want to be very, very careful about changing our answer. And that's because question 3 has more to do with who we are than what money we're bringing in. Without this third question, even specific, measurable, achievable goals end up being vanity goals because we can't explain the why behind them. This third question is what defines our why. The people that appear successful in business but don't consider question 3 are doomed to a life of increasing income and wealth, but also increasing expenses that are not tied to any overarching goals or values. Those arbitrary vanity goals, whether they be personal or business, will make you a prisoner of your success as you chase more and more income for the sake of it. You end up sacrificing more and more in exchange for things that you don't truly value. You end up as the worn down, disgruntled employee of the worst boss you ever had. And that boss is you. What a nightmare. Now is the time to start creating these financial goals by answering these 3 questions. Now is the time to be intentional, to create a firm first based on your personal goals and aspirations, informing what you do in your business. Now is the time to design the firm and the life you dreamed of when you took the leap into entrepreneurship. Thank you for joining me on Capital Counsel. If you have questions, concerns, suggestions, drop them in the comment section. For free resources like my cash flow projection for law firms mini course, and for more info on designing your ideal law firm, check out consilium-cfo.com.